Nutrition in infancy is so important. It's hard to gauge sometimes when a child is full because they can't tell you. However, there are signals that parents will learn to pick up on. Without proper nutrition, infants can't reach their full physical potential, and as a result could suffer from cognitive and social consequences. We also have to remember that infants develop according to their own rate. So just because one child isn't where another child is does not mean that that child is not developing according to their own rate. So what is a healthy amount of calories for a child to take in? Research tells us that about 50 calories per day for each pound of body weight. And most infants can regulate their calorie intake quite effectively on their own. They will stop eating when they are full. Us adults, we haven't quite learned that sometimes. I once had a coworker, I called it his deep breath diet. He explained that when we're full, we will take a breath. So as we're eating, if we have to sit up taller and take a breath, probably we're full. We just need to know that's a signal to stop eating. Most of us, even though we sit up, take a deep breath, we may go back for seconds and still even eat dessert. So the next time you're eating, when you sit up a little straighter and take a breath, just stop eating. That is our body's physiological signal that we have had enough. I think infants do a better job of this than adults. If we're allowed to consume as much as they want and are not pressured to eat more, they will be healthy. In our next chapter on preschoolers, we're going to talk more about this because I think it's very, very important. Malnutrition can be a concern, and malnutrition to me means anything aside from the norm. So it can be undernutrition and overnutrition. In many developing countries, undernutrition is a problem. Here in the United States, overnutrition is our form of malnutrition. And in developing countries, it's characterized by lower growth rates. Here in the United States, it's higher growth rates. Basically, lower nutritioned infants will often have lower IQ scores. So it's very important that we make sure we get the proper amount of nutrition so that proper brain development can occur during infancy. What might be some of the reasons that malnourishment, which does slow physical growth and harms IQ scores and school performance? When children are hungry, they don't get the fuel that feeds their bodies, plus they don't get proper brain development. And if they're hungry, they are focused on their stomach growling instead of what they're to be learning in school. Also, how might malnourishment affect education in third world countries? They just are not as developed in their education system as we are and are able to provide the education for nutrition that we have here in the United States. Protein energy malnutrition is when we do not get enough protein in our diet. Here in the United States, that's usually not a problem. Protein is pretty consistent among most groups of people. However, in underdeveloped countries, malnutrition can become severe, and two situations can be marasmus or kwashiorkor. Kwashiorkor is a protein deficiency where energy needs are marginally met. So they're still getting some calories, probably not enough, but some, but not enough protein in those calories. And those children might look fat because edema has caused their ankles, their wrists, their tummies to swell. It's just accumulation when protein deficiency occurs. Water is drawn into the cells and it swells those parts of the body area called edema. Marasmus is where they are neither getting enough protein nor energy and other nutrients. So that way they just literally look like they're wasting away. They're just skin and bones. This could be because of no breastfeeding or weaning too early or even improper mixing of the formula. This slide shows those two conditions of protein-calorie malnutrition. The one on the left, the little boy looks pretty healthy actually, although you'll notice his tummy is swollen from the edema. On the right-hand side, that child is literally starving to death. It is not getting enough protein nor enough calories. This slide might help us see some of those physical conditions more easily with the edema. Now the one on the right, even though that child is wasting away, they may still have the bloated appearance in their tummy. Now this slide is interesting. This is an Afghanistan woman, and she's not used to having her picture taken, so she's kind of looking up at the camera oddly, and it makes her eyes look funny. But let's focus on the two babies. She had twins. She did not know she could breastfeed both of her babies. Breast milk operates on a supply and demand, so the more you breastfeed, the more milk you're going to produce. And so mothers who have twins can breastfeed both babies. It takes a lot of time because they need to spend a lot of time breastfeeding two babies. Plus, it's interesting to get them into position. If you breastfeed them both at the same time, you have to have somebody help you, and you probably need pillows for the babies to be supported. But you can breastfeed both babies. Because this woman didn't understand that she could, she had a boy and a girl. Guess which child she chose to breastfeed? The baby boy. Baby boys are more valuable in a lot of cultures. So you can see the baby on the right, how healthy that baby is because it's getting its mother's breast milk. The baby on the left is the baby girl, and she is drinking her milk out of a bottle, and we're not sure if that's cow's milk. Cow's milk. Babies cannot metabolize cow's milk, so they have to have formula or human milk. It could be formula, and because formula is expensive, they may have put like half strength of the formula into the water, or it could even be an unsafe water supply. The point though is that baby girl is starving to death. You can just see she has the marasmus. She's skin and bones. You see her little ribs. She does have a little edema in the tummy. It's my understanding that this baby girl died shortly after this picture was taken, which is so sad because if this woman would have known, she could have breastfed both babies, or even switched off formula feeding, then she could have still had two healthy babies. In some cases, infants who receive enough nutrition may act as though they've been deprived of food. And they may even look as though they suffer from marasmus, been undeveloped, listless, often apathetic. The real cause is not lack of nutrition, but emotional. They lack sufficient love and emotional support, and this is known as failure to thrive. Usually this occurs about the age of 18 months, and often to reverse it, they need to place the children in the care of other adults so that they can receive proper emotional support. So the question of the day is a fat baby, a healthy baby? Usually we say those roly-poly babies are who are healthy, and they can be. They need fat cells in order to develop healthy brain cells, but there's a fine line between a healthy baby and a baby whose condition could be considered obese. So more research needs to be done. Education for parents. With the help of doctors, they can figure out, is your child growing normally? Is it getting enough calories? Is it receiving too many calories and becoming obese that could cause them to have health issues, not only as a child, but also as an adult? Another question of the day is breast best? And that's something you're going to get an opportunity to discuss with one another this week, as you will be listing the pros and cons of breastfeeding. So until then, have a great day.